Hello and welcome back to the build video tutorial for this Messerschmitt Bf109 in 1/7 scale. In the previous video we have added some clear gloss varnish to our model to prepare the surface for decal application. So in this video we're going to be applying decals. This is our decal sheet of paper. As you can see, we've already taken out the decal for the cockpit instrument panel, and now we're only left with the crosses and some other emblems that go all around the aircraft. So in today's video we're going to be adding these decals to the body of the aircraft. As you can see, we need to have the spade symbol on the front. We'll need to put some triangle decals on the side and the cross, and of course this little line here. And on the bottom we'll have another cross, and on the top yet another cross. Pretty straightforward. So let's get cracking. So to successfully apply decals, you will need a glass of warm water, very important, a model, decal sheet of paper, and one of these, a cotton bud. This is a special kind of cotton bud. It's a compressed cotton bud made by Tamiya. And this is how they look. They come in a pack of 50 and they're basically compact cotton buds. The ones that I find most useful are the ones that are pointy. So these types, and of course this big pointy type. The reason that these are very handy is because if you dunk them in water and take them out, they don't fall apart. They're really compressed, and they don't leave any stray hairs or fibers left once you apply decal solution or water on the surface of the aircraft, and they hold their shape. So they're really good, and they're not that expensive. They're around 3-4 euros per pack, and you tend to use them for a long time because even though they get dirty, they don't really leave any particular residue behind, at least in my experience, unless you are using some sort of solvents. Then yes, of course. If you're using plain old water, then no. So again, we will apply decals in two different ways. This half is going to have just water and nothing else. And on this half, we're going to be using some specialized liquids to try to adhere the decal better so that it conforms to the surface and gets that painted on look. So let's get cracking on this right side. First, you cut out the decal from a decal sheet of paper. Then you dunk it into a glass of warm water. That is very important that the water is warm and not cold, otherwise this process is not going to work as effectively as it should. You dunk the decal inside the warm water for about 10 seconds and place it on a kitchen paper towel for about a minute. Then you dunk the cotton bud in water and place water on the wing surface where you're going to be placing the decal. This is to lubricate the surface so that the decal will have time to be maneuvered into proper position. Judging by the manual, we have to place the decal somewhere around the middle of the wing area and right next to this panel line, which doesn't really exist on the actual aircraft. So I will use this panel gap as a guideline, as well as the camouflage pattern, and of course the top of the leading edge as my reference point where to actually place the decal. And here I'll just wing it. After about a minute or even less, the decal will come off its base. Sometimes a little stubbornly, you can take your fingers and kind of push it off, but be careful. The decal is still pretty fragile and can tear apart if you're too rough, so be gentle with this process as much as you can. Using a cotton bud, I will position it in place where it's supposed to be. I'm just looking at the reference picture in the manual so that I get it somewhat right. Once you're happy with the decal position, use a kitchen paper towel and press gently on the wing surface to push all the water underneath the decal out, as well as using a cotton bud in a rolling motion to further remove any air pockets that are left so that the decal sticks to the surface really well. Et voila! And we do the exact same thing for the bottom section of the right wing area. We take out the decal from its decal sheet of paper using a sharp blade. we cut around the decals, and we are very careful not to cut into the decal or too close to the decal. Once we've cut out the decal, we place it inside of warm water for 30 seconds, place it on a kitchen paper towel for a minute, add a bit of water using a cotton bud on the wing where the decal is going to be placed. Then slide the decal off its decal tray, correctly position it. And then force the water from underneath the decal by pushing a kitchen paper towel softly on the wing surface. Then use a rolling motion of the cotton bud to further conform the decal to the surface of the wing, thus ensuring a nice and permanent bond. And voila, this is how the decal looks when it's firmly placed on the wing surface from both sides. On the side of the aircraft we have 3 decals which are as one, and here they are. There are one solid decal which you have to cut out and then place on the aircraft side. This step is called rinse and repeat. Alright, so we have applied the decals on the right side of the aircraft, and as you can see they're pretty good. And you can even see some of the detail underneath, so you can see the panel lines of the aircraft, of the airframe. That's because we've pressed down with a cotton bud really firmly to make sure that the decal conforms to the surface. Here on the top and on the bottom as well, I think you can actually see, even here on the bottom, you can see it did kind of conform to the surface, so you can see the panel lines just underneath here. You can see on the light that it did conform to the surface. So you don't really need any special tools or actually liquids to do this right, as long as you have a pretty good cotton bud. Now on the right side we will be using specialized liquids to help with the decal adhesion. The more common one would be this one, Revell Decal Soft. This is basically a solution that kind of helps decal to conform to the surface much better and stick to the model much better than just ordinary tap water. Then we have Tamiya's solution for this, Mark Fit Strong and their Mark Fit and Decal Sol. But the most common one that you might see is this two, Microset and Microsol. This is the 2 compound decal solution, so you basically stick it on with this and then apply this to make it, like it says on the bottle, a painted on look. So we will be using all these 3 items. I'll show you how to use them, and we'll be placing down decals. Now this one is a little bit strong, that's why it says strong. It is meant for decals that are a bit thick. Sometimes you'll find decals on decal sheet of paper which have a very thick film on them, and ordinary decal solutions just won't do. This decal sheet of paper is not that problematic, so we have to be really careful when using this here because we can easily tear the decal apart. Let's get started. We'll first use this normal Revell decal solution, Decal Soft. So on the left side of the aircraft you can see there's much more decals than on the right side. So we have this big old decal here, and we have a triangle and this little writing here, the spade, and some writing on the bottom. Then we have an ordinary cross, and on the bottom there's really nothing special. Again, there's just a cross. So let's get started. Applying a decal with a decal solution is the same as without the decal solution. The only difference is that you put decal solution on top of the wing surface where you're placing the decal, and then you place decal on top, position it, and then do the same thing again. Force the water or the decal solution out from underneath the decal, roll it, and put a little bit more decal solution on top to make it conform. Now, there's one thing that you might be scared of at this particular point in the decal application process, and that is that the decal kind of starts to bubble up. When you place down decal solution, the decal kind of has these little bubbles. If you place a little bit more, you'll see it even more. That's normal. The decal is supposed to flare up. Some decal solutions are a little more aggressive than this, and they will flare up a lot, but don't panic. When the decal sets, it will level out and will conform. It basically softens it so much that it conforms to even the most minute surface detail, and sometimes it can go a little sideways, like here it kind of, it can a little crooked. You have to be careful with this step. I might have overdone it because the cross is a little bit crooked now. It doesn't matter. We'll live with that. But yeah, this is how you place down with the decal solution, with decal soft. Now let's do the same thing, but use Mark Fit Strong. So the next one will be microset and microsole. First you use the set and then you use the sole. For this, you need a clean brush and a decal. So we'll be placing a decal on the bottom. Okay, so we are done with the placement of all the decals. So as you can see, we have placed one side using our favorite decal solutions and one without. And here is the result. Let's take a look at the side where we just used plain old water. As you can see, the plain old water, it did a good job. The decal did conform quite nicely. You can still see some panel lines. On the top surface, you can't really see anything because there is no line. And on the bottom, you can see some rivets and a panel line and the access port. On the other side, the decal conformed much nicer. You can really see all the rivets and the details. And this is really where the decal solution comes to play to its own, right? Let's take a look at this. See how well it conforms. Fantastic. Now, if you want to make sure the decal conforms even better, what you can do, and this is really a delicate operation, is to take a very sharp blade and then just slightly cut into the decal along the panel line, and that will make sure that it will definitely show through. But this operation is really delicate, so be advised not to do it if at all possible. Here on the tail, fantastic. See the little triangular here and a spade, the warning sign, and on the wing. Right, so that's when it comes to decal application. Next step in the process is actually finishing up the marble itself. We need to attach the landing gear on the bottom. We need to attach the horizontal stabilizers on the back and the propeller in the front. But before we do that, we will address minor things, and that we will cover in the next video. See you soon.